Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I thought I'd do a little rundown on how we did what we've done, which might help other people to get on and do what they do, and do it with some success. So, how successful are we? Well, we're over 8,000 now in over 8,000 subscribers in less than a year. In fact, I think it's still at 10 months. So it's a fair measure of success, we think. Now, so how do we do it? Well, I see what other people do, but after a while I don't even look at most other sites, especially expats. Why did we start and do what we do? Well, we wanted to show what our life was like, and we decided that we could do it, that we could do something that eventually might bring us a few dollars, but we never thought in terms of money at that time. We just liked doing what we do. So here's the first rule. If there are any rules, this is the first rule that I think. You have to love what you do. And you have to love what you do so much that you would do it for nothing. Now, in some of the professions in the world, like a pilot, most pilots would do exactly what they are doing, even if they won several $1 million. Supposing they won the lottery of, I don't know, $100 million, they'd still do what they do because they absolutely love what they do. So that's one of the first rules in my mind, is that you need to have a passion for what you do, because it shows. Now, why does it show? Well, you have what comes out of your mouth, what you state is true, and then your body language, which has a language all of its own and which cannot be suppressed. You can, I guess, if you're a great actor, you can learn about body language and learn to lie. So you can learn to lie through your body if you're a great actor. Most people are not. Certainly I'm not. So you need to love what you do. Now, why will it get better? Well, depending, for the little that I've read on quantum physics, this is, when we get into quantum physics, it's quantum science, we're really talking about the secret. Remember that it was a hit movie, a hit event, phenomenon, that came about, that you could have everything that you want merely by wishing for it. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, because the real wishes that come true are the ones that are done with what I read as pure intent. Does that mean you have to be a good boy all the time? No, it doesn't. It means that as you put out your wish, it mustn't be tainted at all with conditions like, if I could just have this happen to me, I'll be happy. That won't work. Because what happens is that your wish, which may be a very good wish, it may be a wish which is a prayer for peace. It has to be something which is pure, just for itself. You have to be more. It has to be more like you're saying, "I'm actually very happy, but boy, I would just love for this to happen," and that would be pure intent. So watch what you're thinking, watch what you're planning and wishing for, because it will come as a whole package, and when you put that out as a package, it will return exactly what you have hoped for. And if what you have hoped for is tainted with desperation or condition, or I can only be happy if this happens to me, then it will return you an experience which is exactly what you put out. So that's the other thing there. Alright, so now probably a lot of you won't like this, but it does work if you love what you do, and that is work hard. It's not a very popular thing these days, is it? Because all of the motivational speakers are all saying you can have whatever you want, and you can have it now. It's immediate. It's immediate. You know, you just put the wish out there, and boy, it'll be banging at your door the next thing that you know it. I don't believe that. I always think that in line with what I've just said about it has to be of pure intent. I just think about the idea of the guy he's only 5'6", and he says he keeps wishing. He sees the movie The Wish, and he thinks, if I could just go to bed tonight and wake up in the morning 3 inches bigger, I would be completely happy. Well, the next morning he wakes up, and the first thing he thinks about is, I wonder what happened. And he goes to his little marker on the wall that says 5'6", and sure enough, he's 5'9". He's so delighted. He runs downstairs to tell the whole family. He finds out that everybody else in the world has grown 8 inches. So, be careful what you wish for. So, what are we looking at? Work very hard. When we decided that we would do what we do, we said, will anybody be interested in our little lives on the hill? Let's face it, at that time we had secrets. We had things that Beth was concerned about. You know, we had rather a large age gap between her. When we met, even, I thought she's too young, and she thought he's too old. But in spite of everything, the heart has its own agenda, and here we are. Well, so you're going to work hard, and you're going to love what you want, what you do, and you're going to decide what kind of channel that you're going to put on. Now, early on, we decided, well, you know what? I was so tired of looking at some of the expat sites where a lot of venting goes on, and if you've seen any of our videos in the past, you'll know that this is a bit of a hobby horse of mine, that if you come to another country that offers you a good life and a good living on the money that you have coming in, then be grateful, and don't keep knocking them. Don't keep bitching about the food, or about the transport, or about, I don't know, the driving, or about how ineffective they are, or don't do that. You know, don't do it. If you're happy and you've been given a home, then be grateful and keep your gob shut. That's my motto. So, make up your mind how you're going to run your site and what your niche is. Now, that comes back to rule 1. Work very hard. And what you do is, you don't say, what will make me money? You say, what do I love doing? And out there are millions and millions of people. Now, if you want to know how many people are there available to you, type something in for YouTube, something really bizarre. I've said this before, I once tried to explain to an elderly couple, an elderly couple who didn't know anything about Facebook and or YouTube, and I said, well, you know, let's just work out something that is completely bizarre. Crocheting baby boots. Why would we want to know about that? We typed that in, and it came up like 800,000 or 8,000, or it could have been 8 million sites where you could find out about crocheting baby boots. The number of people that are out there are infinite. There are some sites out there who have millions of views. Millions of views. I mean, not just 1 million even. millions of views where people wanted to see what had happened, what had been done, the video, and they're there. So if you have a little faith in what you're doing, then do what you do best. And the old writer's maxim is, if you're going to write a book, a lot of people think that they can write a book. So what do? They go and they write a book about something that they don't know anything about. I can't stand watching football myself, you know, and it would be like me deciding that I was going to write a book that was based in the arena of football. I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know offside to inside out. So I wouldn't write a book on that. I'd write a book about something that I know. So do a video about something that you know, that you love doing, and you will find your audience, is my belief. Now, we didn't think that anybody would be interested in our simple life. It's just ordinary life. We've got kids in our lives, we've got a mother-in-law, we've got just ordinary stuff, you know. Now, that brings me to the other thing. Are you going to make videos about something that happens, or are you going to make something happen in order to make a video about it? Well, what we found was that we were touched by a particular story. I think one of the earliest stories that actually found us. We went to see a church, and it was as close to a religious experience as I've ever had at that time. We went to see what we called were the singing, dancing congregation, and we did that. And what happened then was that we showed a story. We said, wow, these people are so incredibly into what they do, into their spiritual pursuit, into their belief of God. And even though I wasn't at all religious, my wife was a born-again Christian, and that's why we looked into this church. But it was such a moving experience for me. It actually brought tears to my eyes. And this church didn't have all the walls. It didn't have a front door. I think it still doesn't have a front door. It was so humble. They didn't have Bibles. They were sharing Bibles. There was so much that was needed there. And I remember saying, surely there must be churches out there that would gladly give Bibles. All of our information was there at the end of our videos saying you can get in touch. And then suddenly people said, we'd like to send 50 Bibles, but by the time you get them, it would be 2 months. Why don't we worked out that it was going to be X amount of pesos or X amount of dollars to buy a Bible. Why don't we just send you the money? You can buy the Bible. And that's how it went. Well, from there, we actually found that we were creating things about what we saw that eventually started to produce material for the videos that we make. So when people are out there, the negatives, the haters who are out there saying, yeah, well, I mean, they get paid, don't they? I mean, they cream money off the top, you know. Well, we don't do that because we don't have to. We never thought about money, and suddenly it started to come in a big enough quantity that we didn't have to worry anymore. That was the point at which we were able to let go about the way that we live and how to pay for it. Now, did our living change? Did our style of living change? No, it didn't. We kept on. We were a bread and butter family, and we continued bread and butter. And so the money just started to build enough so that we didn't worry anymore about it. So if you go into it and you're worried about money, you're already lost on your putting stuff out there, your thoughts out there, your wish out there, which is based on pure intent. So you keep your pure intent. Pure. Okay, so that's one thing there. Now, the advice, you'll get lots of advice, especially if what you're doing actually attracts someone who has some information, who has some experience or something, and you will get advice. Early advice for us was make one video every other day, or I don't know, every 3 days. In other words, they thought that we were making too many videos. Our belief was we actually enjoyed making videos, and we found lots of stuff to make videos about. So, what do? Here's someone who is obviously knowledgeable. He was very factual, and it was really good instruction and advice that he was giving us. But what do? Well, we went with what we believed in. So you have to hold your own counsel. Do what you believe in. What you really believe in is what you should be doing, because you can't have passion. You can't work hard at something which you don't like doing, which you don't believe in. You have to really believe in what you're doing, and that's really important. That's where you keep honesty. And boy, if you're not being honest, you will have people who will go along with what you're doing if you're also doing things which are actually interesting, but you're a bit of a turd. Well, they'll suss you out, and you'll lose people. So they'll come and they'll look at you, and it will offend them slightly in some way. And those are the kind of people that you actually want, the ones who are looking for something which is true. So once you've decided, you have your ability to work very hard, you have your passion in what you do, you're doing something that you believe in, and you've decided what form your blog, vlog, I always find that difficult to say, vlog, always find that is something that is going to happen, and it will happen in its own time. Don't think about it. Don't think about the end. Thinking about the end before you've really got the beginning and the middle off is a little bit like going on a journey and wishing you were there. Isn't that how kids always ruin everything? Are we there yet, Dad? Are we there yet? And they keep asking, well, no, you're not there yet, son, and we're not any further on than you were 2 minutes ago. See what I mean? You need to be absolutely honest in what you do. Now, there'll be people who hate what you do. So that brings us to handling the haters, the trolls. The best advice that I ever had was one very, very simple comment. He said, ignore, and I wish that I could remember who actually gave this piece of advice, but he will know. He said, ignore the haters, ignore the trolls. How trolls work is they browse through and they look at all of the different channels, and then when they found a channel that they can make a comment on, they make a comment which is designed only to upset you. That's the purpose. In other words, if someone makes a remark which actually seems like something, well, it's fair enough, he's asking about that, you know, no, he's not interested. They're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in finding anything out. They probably have only watched a moment or two in time would be just enough so that they can type their vicious comment. And it's there only to be vicious. And so that's why when you see it, try not even to finish reading it. Don't. You'll get a real feel for this in the end, and you'll be able to sense whether someone is a troll. You'll be able to do that very, very quickly. The most recent example, for me. Somebody said, are all of these houses paid for by subscribers? Now, it might seem like an innocent question, but actually what it implies, and we're looking at the subtext now, what comes out of your mouth is one thing, the subtext is sub, underneath, and that's the text underneath. And that's the one that you're actually looking at. That person is not interested in knowing anything about that. He's only there to disturb, to ruffle your feathers, to upset you, to get you off balance. No. That would bring me to the other piece of good advice that a mentor, someone who has become a mentor, gave me. Said, if you're in a boat and that the sea gets rough, you'll be battered about and buffeted and ruffled and everything. But if you were an island, the island just remains in its exact position. So, don't be a boat, be an island. That's a good one. Never mind about the no man is an island. We'll leave that one for another time. Okay, so what else have I put here? Handling that. Alright, are you... So this is a little bit to the same subject. Are you an open forum which will allow for dissent, which will allow for criticism, which will allow for people to back and forth, you know, often not very pleasant? Or are you, as we decided, Beth and I, are you a feel-good channel? Now, if you're a feel-good channel, it's very clear. If you start to have bad comments made, and other people, it doesn't matter whether it affects you, it affects the people that read what the comments are on your channel. And reading bad comments, nasty comments, whether they're clever or funny or not to them, will not win you any more subscribers. So if you feel good, then keep it feeling good. And you are the decider. Someone, another friend of ours, Stephen, said that when you are invited, when you come into the channel of Terence and Beth, my wife and me, you're being invited into our home. This is where we are. This is us. And we invite our friends in. And if we get somebody come in who is an absolute turd and he walks in the door and starts to upset everybody, guess what? He's not going to be invited anymore. In fact, on his way out, we'll say, oh, by the way, don't come back. And that's what we do. We delete and we block. And we do that ruthlessly. If someone actually reveals himself very, very quickly, and here's a test that you can do. You can actually go on and you can find out if the site that this person is coming from, if the page has got nothing on it, he's a troll. So that's that. So that's pretty well it. That's all the notes that I put on. And probably this is too long. It's 23 minutes, but I hope it helps you to create your own channel. Create it in pure intent. Do what you love. Do it with passion. And that's the other thing. When we got the advice to only do one video a day, we said, no, we're not going to do that. Thank you for your input. Thank you for bothering to tell us, but we're going to do what we think is right. Our record for uploading videos in one day, I think, is 12 or 13 videos in one day. We made them, edited them, and uploaded them in one day. Very, very common for us to upload. Four is very low for us. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is really not uncommon. Now, that's how we do it. Well, that's how we do it. How you do it is going to be up to you. So, I wish you well. Do what you love. And work hard at it. Work hard. We work 24/7. Believe it, we work 24/7. Probably because we have all of our projects which we have now become involved in on helping less fortunate people, which is all generated, the power to do that and money to do that is all generated through our YouTube channel, which is Feel Good. So if you've got something nasty to say, you'll be on there very, 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 very quickly and off again. Bye for now. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Good luck if you're going to start a channel. I wish you the best. It's going to be tough. Work hard.